Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Chasing Joy Show. I am Arlett Hartie, blogger and joy strategist from chasing-joy.com. And I am also your host for the Chasing Joy Show. The Chasing Joy Show is an extension of the Chasing Joy blog and brand, where I continue the conversation surrounding happiness and bring on fun and interesting people who have a great perspective on how they're chasing joy, or people who have an interesting perspective on life, where we can all learn a few things to help us chase joy a little better. So those who will be watching this later on, this is season 1 of the Chasing Joy Show. It is being live streamed in January 2021 within my private Facebook group, who is our awesome studio audience, joining us via the Facebook comments. So if you are watching this later on, you've missed all the shenanigans of our technical difficulties earlier today, but we are ready to go and get started. So my guest for today or tonight is Sherrae Hartie. She's my cousin. And I'm going to go ahead and ask her to unmute herself and turn her camera on to join the show.
Because I got a little allergy thing going on. All right. We're going to ignore that.
Okay. All right. So you guys who are watching, post your guess in the comments. Which one do you think is the lie of, she gave us 4 choices. So I'm going to see if I can remember to repeat them. I probably have already forgot the first one. So I think she said that she has German ancestry. I missed the, say the second one again. Oh, wait.
My favorite mixed drink is a strawberry
pina colada. She considered being a Republican, and she loves to watch tennis on TV.
Yep.
These are actually hard. These are challenging.
It took a long time. That was my point, because you were like, oh, it's going to be hard to fool me.
Well, I said try to pick a good one, because it could be hard. I've known you all of my 40 years.
Me too, yeah.
So that makes sense. All right, so Veronica says number 2. That's that your favorite drink is the strawberry pina colada. Miss Lily thinks that the lie is the Republican. Almita thinks that the lie is the Republican. I think, this is hard. I think the lie is, I'm going to go with the strawberry pina colada, that's the lie.
Okay. So when do I tell? Now?
Shamor thinks the drink too. Yes, tell us now.
Okay. I love watching tennis on TV. Bam.
Wow. Okay, that surprises me. That surprises me. These were hard, because I was like, I think I remember her mentioning the German thing when we did like the different DNA tests.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, she used to play tennis. I feel like she might like watching that. And I was like, the Republican thing is a little bit of a surprise, but I could kind of see it in some ways where she might have considered it at some point in life.
At some point.
Where you became
obviously
the
not
wise,
in the past 15 years.
Yeah, before you became the wise woman that I know you to be. So since you play tennis, why don't you like watching it on TV? Is it like boring?
Because I guess whenever I'm watching it, I'm like, I'd rather be going somewhere to go play it. It's like I love it that much. So it's like, why am I sitting here watching somebody else when I could be going to practice, or I could just go have fun? Yeah.
Okay. Well, that makes a lot of sense. Okay.
So only if somebody invites me, they're watching it. Yeah.
All right. So now that we've learned a bit about you, I'm going to go ahead and formally introduce Sherrae Hartie. So I think I said it already. We are first cousins. We share many things, including our last name. Right now, you know, hopefully that'll change for both of us at some point, possibly.
You're not gonna hyphenate? No, I'm gonna maybe hyphenate. I don't know. Yeah.
I don't know what I'll do. I probably won't even change it at this point. But who knows? But Sherrae Hartie is a psychotherapist, speaker, writer, and coach who focuses on empowering women to excellence and helping them to boss up and build the mindset that they need for the career, business, team, and life that they want. And she does that by having an online community. She does it in many ways, but I invited her to be on the show for a few reasons, but mostly because of her Goalista Thrive Tribe, that's what she calls it, her online community where she works to do all those things in support of women, helping them to make their dreams come true and building a community that is focused on encouragement and providing a safe space for like-minded women to share their wins and, more importantly, all the lessons along the way when they haven't quite started winning yet, right? Mm-hmm. So I love that she does this. A very common trait within our family is the spirit of teaching, coaching, encouraging,
preaching.
So yes, well, preaching is all that together, right?
Yes.
So I, in addition to Sherrae being extremely qualified to be on my show, she's my cousin, and I'm obviously going to always provide a platform to anyone in my family that's doing good things. So welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
No problem. So why don't you start out by telling us a little bit more about your Goalista Thrive Tribe?
Okay, so basically, I had already started with the idea of, coaching women to help them reach their goals. And I decided along the way that I wanted to start a community. And really that kind of started to happen when actually we all had this group, you and I and Veronica and a few others, Nell and Chanel, and we started talking during this pandemic. We started talking once a week because, of the reasons of just being isolated. And it wasn't just us that, we were going through that. And I was just like, man, wouldn't it be so great if I could kind of reach out to everyone during this particular time that we're all going through this isolation, because long story short, isolation is a dream killer, right? Yeah, and I'm all about helping people achieve their dreams. And I'm like, we're all stuck in our own little islands. And so I was like, I know so many amazing women that I've met over time. I mean, all the way from kindergarten, all the way up until, this year or last year, I'm always meeting amazing women. Some I've met through you, which is so awesome. And so I was just like, what if I just brought us all together? I mean, we were seeing so many crazy problems happening, or at least problems that we all already knew about, but that were kind of becoming more into the light. The issues with racism and the things that, everyone is dealing with the isolation and the pandemic and the cracks in the government and all this stuff. And so I was just like, these women are brilliant. I mean, over time, I've met some of the most brilliant women, and they have amazing jobs and amazing abilities to think. And I was like, if we all come together on this platform, if somebody just threw us a question, we could solve that problem. I know it. I can almost guarantee it.
We could solve all the world's problems.
We could solve almost all the world's problems. If you pick somebody on the platform, somebody's got an answer for you. And if not, we will find one. Yes.
I love what you said about isolation being a dream killer. And my initial thought was that should be a tagline for whatever the first conference or retreat that will be when it's safe to go outside again. It'd be like, right. The pandemic is over. Isolation is a dream killer. Come to, whatever it is.
Well, so, I was going to do a pink drinks and pastry party. That was my goal. I was going to do that. Yes. A year or so ago, I said, okay, we're going to do this. And then, what happened? We're all isolated. So Yeah. Pink drinks and
Right. Yeah,
pastries.
I love that. Isolation is a dream killer. So, what would you say, other than like, okay, you join a community like the Thrive Tribe, and because you don't want to be isolated because it's a dream killer, but what are like the benefits of a community specifically like yours?
Specifically,
Yeah.
I mean, number one, you don't have to leave your house in order to congregate, so that's an absolute plus.
Sure.
Um, like I said, the women who I asked to be in this group, right now, I mean, they come from all walks of life. They come from various countries. They work various positions in different levels of government, in law, in medicine, in, for me, psychotherapy, mental health, PR,
Public
media,
servant.
public service. Like, I mean, literally I don't know what's not represented in the group. We've got writers, we've got speakers, we've got educators. So, I mean, and almost everybody who also is doing those other things is also working to educate other people, which I think is so wonderful, because not only are we well-educated women, but we're women who are about educating others. And that even like would funnel down to, you know, us educating each other on things. So like the other night, I literally was talking to someone from the group, and they had called me about something, and I said, well, they had started texting me about an issue dealing with, really, it was like confidence, and we started to talk about that. I said, well, let me not just text, let me call you. So I called, and we had this conversation, and at the end of the conversation, she felt better about, you know, what she was doing, and her confidence felt boosted. And, you know, we were on the phone for so long, I had thrown some things at her, and she was like, well, how about this? And how about that? And I was like, yeah, I love that. I think I'm going to do that. And we both, it was like we had a coaching call without even planning a coaching call. And it was
Right. It's
mutually
like
beneficial.
organic.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that could happen with any of the women, I think, in the group. We are kind of like at a point where we're just really like in the beginning. We've got about 80 members right now. And it's because it started online in the midst of all this chaos where everybody is, you know, very busy. I think like it hasn't been, we haven't been like interacting, I think, as much as I believe we are going to in the future. Like, I think eventually there's going to be a lot more interaction and contribution from all of the members as well. So.
Right. So with my background being a blogger and now having 10 years, you know, with Chasing Joy and social media and all that, I really enjoy social media. Like, I'm not naive to the dangers that it can do, that some of which we witnessed earlier this week.
Hello.
I'll just say, for those who will see this episode later, when it comes to YouTube, we are taping this the week that the rioters, and I'm saying rioters, breached the Capitol building. Yes, our homegrown terrorists breached the Capitol. So I definitely am not naive to the negative side of social media, but I've always really enjoyed social media, and I believe in taking control over it and cultivating your feed, eliminating things that, you know, take your joy away, and joining groups like the Chasing Joy group that we're in right now, like the Goalista Thrive group, that empower you and help you to grow and make you feel good. And in these cell phones that are in our pocket, you know, you could just be a few seconds away from something that's positive and empowering when you log on. So I think we've talked just, you know, offline before about your experience just in some groups in the past and how they've helped you. So we want to share a little bit about that.
Okay, yes. So in addition to that, what also, I guess, contributed to me starting this group during this pandemic is, so I guess around March, I had started kind of having some issues medically, and I didn't know what was going on. My heart was racing. Like, and then I was like, am I having a panic attack? Like, what is happening here? Long story short, like it turns out that I have GERD, which is a gastrointestinal reflux disease, which used to be solved by Nexium, the little purple pill. I don't know if you guys remember those commercials. And I think like most people think about like acid reflux is basically being something that like just like it comes up, it burns you a little bit, and you're like, oh, take a Tums and you move on with your life. Well, when your heart is like jumping from like normal rate to like an additional like 80 beats, you know, per minute, it gets a little bit scary, especially when you don't know what it is. So apparently like the acid can like jump up and hit the vagus nerve and cause all kinds of like issues. Like my ears can get clogged, or I can get stuffed up. Right now I've got like a weird allergy thing going on that I don't even understand, which is new. You get gas in your chest, you feel aches, you feel pains. And the big major thing that was happening, you know, was like I was literally like waking up in my sleep choking, which was very, very scary. Like you just wake up out of your sleep gasping for air. And so what happened for me after I found out what was going on, it's like I didn't know anybody who was dealing with what I was dealing with. So I actually got on Facebook and I joined a group. I guess through it's like LPR and GERD is like the two different things, which basically just like relates to the parts of the body where that causes the issue that we all have for acid reflux. And I learned so much from these people. I mean, basically it had gotten really, really bad for me. So like, I don't know, for those of you who really know me well, like I was 40 pounds heavier at the beginning of this year. And the reason why I lost weight was because I literally could not eat. Like I just stopped eating because I was feeling so sick from taking in food. So I had to learn how to eat differently. And in the group, like they taught me how to do that. You know, you found out that things that, you know, the things that could happen to you, so you weren't so scared and paranoid when they happened to you, not knowing what was going on. Because on top of this being like a new disease for me, it was also like in the middle of a global pandemic where it's like, why am I having these symptoms? What is this? What is happening? You know, we've got like this new thing out here and nobody knows what it is. And then I didn't know what was going on with me. So it just really helped that we could all go, oh yeah, that happened to me. Oh, that happened to you? Oh, good, we're cool. So it showed that in a community, like it could really literally like save a person's sanity, you know? So isolation also, it can kill your sanity.
Can be
right?
a real killer. It can be a real
Yes,
killer.
yes.
A sanity killer, a dream killer, a real killer.
Absolutely. So for me, it saved my life. And like on there, there's thousands of people actually on there. And I go on there often and I contribute just like whenever people have questions, people are answering them. And that would be like my dream, that like in our group, people could just feel confident and safe to just post whatever's going on and feel that there was somebody that could give them something encouraging or some kind of wisdom or information that would like help them in their moment of need. So yeah.
So one thing I want to say is for those who are watching the live stream, in the title for this live stream, I did link to Sherrae's Goalista Thrive community. So I hope that you guys will go ahead and click the link and join her community if you like what we're saying today, so you feel that's the kind of community you'd like to be in. Also, Sherrae, I'm going to ask you, when we're done this, if you wouldn't mind sharing the link for the GERD community, because I'm sure some people in our group may have some similar experiences. Janice has commented that she has acid reflux, and that's one of the reasons that she's changed to a vegetarian diet, because she has to stay away from a lot of things. So maybe
really
post
helps.
the link to that community, because that might benefit her and other people watching. So as you were talking, I was reminded I had the pleasure of going to see Michelle Obama when she was doing her book tour here in Philly.
Very
and yeah, it was amazing. I was way at the top and the back, but I was in the room. That's all that mattered, right? I was in the room where it happened.
Absolutely.
my Hamilton reference. So, she in her book and on her tour was talking a lot about, like, you know, different people in her family and different support systems that, you know, she benefited from. And someone asked the question, like, well, what if you don't have those support systems? And she said, well, you have to go out and get it. Yep. And I firmly believe that you have to, like, take that responsibility, that ownership. You have to create the support systems that you need. So similarly, like when I decided to go full speed ahead with becoming a mom on my own, I joined the Single Mom by Choice community, like the local one. Like I'd already been kind of lurking on some pages and things, which helped me learn a lot of stuff. But I actually joined that community in person because I'm responsible for creating the support system that I need. So, you guys who are watching here in the Facebook group, like you're already in a group. So you're probably, this is a message you might need to pass on to some people that you know, especially now when we can't really necessarily go to an in-person meeting, but like don't kind of like throw the baby out with the bathwater. There can be a lot of really positive groups and things that you can benefit from online that can be the support system that you need for whatever, you know, life issues, health issues, or just needing to reach out and like have more fun and interaction. So definitely consider, you know, some of these communities that we're mentioning, and just don't be afraid to do a search, right, for whatever your issue is. I'm assuming that's how you found the GERD group.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I typed it in and I was like,
somebody
help me.
Listen, I am increasingly surprised that there is a group on Facebook for everything.
There is a group for everything.
Whatever it is.
And it matters.
Oh, really? Yes. Yeah, so there's a group on there for everything. So given the climate of social media and how there are some negative things that can go with it, you know, bullying, harassment, stuff like that, how do you go about creating a safe space in your group, and like what advice could you give people like me who have their own groups about how to go about doing that?
Okay, so currently the group is in private mode. So the people who come in to the group have all been personally invited by me or another member of the group. So that kind of like keeps it like somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody. In the event that you want to also join the group and you don't know anybody who's already in the group, we do have basically like like kind of like an application. It's not really, it's like an electronic questionnaire that they give you. It's like, so you just send a request to, or you go to the group section of Facebook, you find the Goalista Thrive, and you answer the questions that are asked. And when I receive it, you know, I look over it, or someone from the group looks over it, and we decide if we feel like this is a good idea. But in general, to let, you know, someone join the group. I hope that we will have more people join the group over time. With that being said, you know, welcoming in people that we may or may not know very well. The idea is that we're dealing with people who are like-minded. The group has rules that are set for how you're supposed to be interacting with each other, things that are okay to say, things that are not okay to say. And therefore, like if a person is basically doing something that is against the group rules, they're kindly asked to stop and or removed, depending on what the circumstances are. So
yeah, and I'm just going to envision for you, probably when your group gets bigger, you'll probably have some admins in there to help you police all that.
Yes.
You know, people can tag. I'm in some bigger mom groups, which, to be perfectly honest with you guys, I'm afraid to post in any mom groups. I read only. I only read, because you know, parenting. People get really, really passionate about, you know, whether their toddler sleeps in their bed or in their own room. And I'm not here for that smoke. So I just lurk, but they, in the bigger groups, they seem to have a lot of admins, and people will tag them very quick to tell when someone's getting out of line, which I think is a good thing, because it means everyone seems to understand the guidelines. And
people get really snippy, like in general. They get really snippy in like a lot of groups, especially if you post off group topic. Don't post off group topic, because you will get read and they will let you know. Like this is, I'm sorry. Okay, I understand you're having an issue with that thing, but I believe there's a group for that, and this is not it. Yeah, they will school you. They will read you.
Yeah, people can be pretty bold online, right?
Very bold online.
Well, people call, even though this isn't Twitter, people say they have Twitter fingers. You know, they real quick to type something when you don't have to look someone in the eye, right?
Yeah.
So the name of your group is Goalista,
Yes.
right? So
Yeah.
that tells me that the central theme is related to goals and goal setting, right? Is that a fair assumption?
Absolutely, yes. The idea is about a goalista is what I perceive to be a woman who is focused on achieving her goals and getting from point A to point B. Um, Interestingly enough, I also had started a podcast, which I'm going to be adding more episodes to, probably more likely in the spring as spring approaches. And the name of that is The Goal is to Thrive podcast, but it's spelled Goalista, Goalista,
Oh, okay.
Thrive
That's cute.
podcast.
I
Yeah,
like that.
so
That's cute.
yeah, because the goal is to thrive.
Yes.
Yeah, yes. So if you want to join the group, that's what we're doing over there. We're trying to thrive.
Yeah. So, you know, people sometimes have this this big idea of how their life wants to look. And when I was reading your bio, it said something about helping people to make their dreams come true. So how do you help and encourage women to figure out how to set goals based off of these big ideas, this big vision that we have for ourselves, being all kinds of fabulous down the line? Not that we aren't now, but even more fabulous. How do you help them break that down into goals?
Okay, so most people have an idea of the things that they kind of would like to see happen in their lives, right? You know, for you, it was to have a baby and then, to get a house. And most people have, along the human journey, a lot of us have very similar goals, but they get more specific depending on the person and their background. So basically, it's kind of like the process of interviewing them and just getting them to tell you a little bit about themselves and how they're, how they see themselves in the future. And then it's kind of just all right, is your goal, if you've got a specific goal, is it a tangible goal, right? Is it something are you trying to obtain an actual thing, like an external goal, or are you trying to feel a specific type of feeling, right? And that matters. So is it external or is it internal? And I think a lot of times people are chasing internal feelings, they want this feeling, a feeling of accomplishment, or a feeling of pride, or a feeling of being loved, a feeling of being safe. People a lot of times are looking for internal satisfaction, but they don't know that that's necessarily what they're looking for. A lot of times they are wrapping up their need for these internal feelings to be satisfied by chasing after a tangible item, which is an external goal. And we all have external goals, but the first thing is, okay,
Right.
so you say you want this external goal. Tell me why. What is that going to do for you? How is your life going to be better? What is it going to look like when you achieve this external goal? And then when you start to hear what the person is telling you, you can kind of break it down to better understand, are they really searching for, a mansion in Beverly Hills and a Lotus or whatever car they're looking for, a Beamer, whatever? Or are they searching for a sense of accomplishment, a sense of achievement? And then it becomes, is it really about the mansion? And if it is about, or is it about that internal feeling? If it's about that internal feeling, what other ways can you go about obtaining that feeling?
Right.
Is there an easier way?
I really love that. I really love that, tapping into what is the driving force kind of behind the tangible goal, because it does open you up to multiple ways of getting, because even though it's great to set a goal and work on a goal, sometimes opportunities present themselves in a way that's not how we think it's going to show up.
Exactly.
And if you're too focused on that tangible goal, you can miss that opportunity that could get you to where you really want to be, but you're not aware of where you want to be because you haven't talked to Sherrae to figure it out.
So once upon a time, I used to be totally obsessed with this little show called Sex and the City. And there was this episode, right?
I'm a fan.
Yes, where I think it was Candace Bergman. She used to play Murphy Brown. Murphy Brown. Do you remember that show? Oh my gosh. Now
I
I'm like
do.
really
I like
throwing
Murphy
back.
Brown.
So like,
Yeah.
yeah, so like they should be playing that somewhere in reruns, right? So like she was like an independent businesswoman, right? But basically in the show, she was Carrie, the main character's editor, I think at Vogue. And
Mm-hmm.
basically Carrie was like, wow, you know, I think her name was Enid or something like that. She's like, you're
It
so
was Enid.
amazing.
I remember that name.
Yes, yes. I think she was like, it's so amazing. Like, how do you achieve everything? Like, how do you do it all? You're so amazing. And she's like, you want to know the secret to having it all? She said, stop expecting it to look like what you thought it was going to look like. Now,
Yes.
Sex in the City had so many lessons learned for my generation.
It really did.
They would throw some very good stuff in there. And I mean, that stuck with me. That stuck with me forever. It's still here. Yeah. So
Yeah.
stop
That's
expecting it to look like what
that's
you thought it was going to look like.
Yeah, I mean, and that's a hard thing. That's a hard thing to get over. And sometimes there's like a grieving process. Because even like for me, like, you know, I went ahead and pursued having a baby on my own. That was not my plan A. You know,
Right.
I planned a much more traditional family. So I
Yes.
definitely had to think like, well, what is the end goal that I really want here?
Right.
And open myself up to, you know, a non-traditional way of getting there. Miss Lily says that was her favorite show too. That was one of my favorite shows as well. My mom, on the other hand, did not like it and called them all a bunch of hookers.
But I think like if you
Which is
weren't
probably
invested in the characters, like if you didn't get their
right.
internal stuff, you all you saw was what was happening when you were walking by the screen. It was like and
Yeah, she was like,
mm.
oh, this show with these four hookers, which was like the worst insult she'd probably ever give to someone. So that's pretty bad for her to say that.
Who raised a generation of forward-thinking women, okay, via the
Yes,
TV.
yes. Yes, but I persisted and watched every episode, right?
Yeah, but I mean, definitely, I think, like you said, like my point there was just that people do get stuck on a vision of what their goal is. But if they don't ever investigate like what the goal is truly about for them, like as a person, like on a journey through this world, then like how does it relate to your personal growth? Like, and until you figure out that internal stuff, like you might just be aiming for something, and what happens to many people many times, you get there and then you're like, it's all right.
This ain't it. Yeah,
This
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 ain't what I
not what I
thought.
thought it was going to be. Hence, you know, the divorce rate.
And also I was thinking why they call it the rat race, because you just keep going and going and trying to
You do,
achieve and get promoted, higher. And each time you arrive at this new status level, it still ain't it. And
because
then
it
you just
wasn't
make
about the
another goal
status.
because you say, oh, well, it must be up there. It must be up there. And you just never get off, you
Right.
know?
And sometimes it's not up there, sometimes it's down, and sometimes it's to the left or the right.
Right. Or inside.
That I mean, yeah, I mean, because you don't know until you investigate.
So forgive me if I'm saying your name wrong. I think maybe Sherrae, Sari. She said, I learned my life vision needed to change based on experiences I never thought would happen. Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. We have to learn. And one thing, you know, that this pandemic is, I'll say, reminding me is that we have to be flexible. And it's very hard to be flexible, at least for me. I like things a certain way, my way, with my routines. And it's like we have to be flexible because life, you know, the only constant is change. Whatever's happening now is going to change. So we have to
Adapt
learn how to kind of roll with those punches. Oh, so
adaptation.
it's Sari like Barry. She's your friend, Sari, Sari.
Sorry.
So my fan, Sari. She says Sari.
Yeah.
Like sorry, I butchered it the first time. Thank you for correcting me though. Welcome to the group. That'd be good to get to know you better. And on two groups, right? That we'll now have
Yes.
in common.
Hey, Sherrae,
Okay,
I
so
love you.
so once someone has kind of like maybe talked with you or just through interactions in a group kind of zeroed in on, okay, I know what my goal is. I know the driving force behind it. So now it's time to like start to, get some action going. How can you help them, or what is your advice on how to go about setting that first goal after you really zero in on what your driving force is?
Okay, so in my mind right now, I'm thinking about just something very tangible to understand. You want to do something that is going to make the person feel accomplished quickly so that they feel empowered to keep moving forward. So there's this little thing that, a little trick that I was told. I don't even remember where I learned it. Could have been from TV or somewhere. And it was just about cleaning up your room. Now, those of you who know me, I'm still working on my organizational skills. Okay. But
it's a
make your
family
bed.
trait. It's a family trait. I struggle as
Okay,
well.
because we're creative geniuses, and when you have that kind of creativity, sometimes you just don't have time. You got to get back to that kind of thing later. But I'm improving, working on it. That's one of my goals, things I'm working on while I am in quarantine. But one of the things is make your bed first. And I actually work with I work with a number of clients that who have grand creativity and also have organizational issues. And I help people literally, like that show Hoarders, I help people clean their space. And I even do that online. And the first thing I always have everyone do in their bedroom is make your bed, because it's such a very large space that takes up the majority of the space in a person's room. So like once you've cleared off your bed, you've at least got this island. Now, I don't know what's going on around the island, right? But you've got this island, this safe space. You can lay down on it. You can look up. You can dream, whatever, So I think that setting goals is very much like making that first step to making your bed. It's something that they know how to do. They have the skill set for already, right? They can make a bed. And if they don't, it's something then maybe that you can easily walk them through, right? So it's like you're going to choose this very simple thing that they're capable of doing that's going to kind of start the fire under them and say, hey, this is something I can do. I achieved this one, hopefully quick and easy task. So we're going to, and we chunk goals. I mean, chunk the tasks that need to happen. Yeah.
So start small. Start small. And hopefully get that gratification from achieving that goal, and then set the next one.
Use that to power the next one. And the idea is that it would be something that you could easily do that is a small task that will give you a big payoff.
Right. Like big bang for your buck. Yes. Veronica said she loves making her bed and it makes her feel good. Miss Lily, she said that for her, the driving force is the moment when you're able to reach your goals, such as finishing up a home project.
Yes.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, as you're talking about, making the bed, it kind of was like a connection for me. Like we were talking about having safe spaces online in these communities that can help us. But, we need safe spaces in real life, too, in our tangible life. And so you can look at your bed or your bedroom or your home, whatever personal space you have, and make sure you've made that a safe space for you, not just like from like, a burglar, but like a safe space emotionally
yes.
As well.
It can be safe. It can be encouraging. I mean, I think that environment is so significant to achievement. Like, where you put your feet, where you rest your head. Like if you feel good about these things, it makes you feel less drained. A lot of things that we find is that with clients, like if you're experiencing something messy on the inside, sometimes it surrounds you, So
it spills out.
Yeah, so it spills out, but also I think it can encroach in too. It's like when you have, I don't know how many of you experience this, but a lot of times I feel like once you cleaned up your environment, you feel invigorated. For me, there was like nothing better than like, I've moved a few times, but moving into a new house or a new apartment, it always like lit a fire up under me. New places, new spaces. It's like it gives you like that fire. It's like clean slate, kind of like we were all looking forward with 2021. But we're hopeful. We know the week was a little chaotic, but we'll get there.
I'm still gonna have hope,
Extreme
that
hope.
we can
Yes,
extreme hope. I mean, even like I did a little reflection on 2020, and I personally feel that 2020 lived up to its name. The beginning of 2020 and the end of 2019, everybody was saying 2020 vision, because, play on words and all that. And I think for not to obviously discount anything that negative that people have experienced, but I do think that all of these negative things have given us clarity on what is important. So 2020 vision, I think we all got it.
Yeah.
Through these experiences, like what really matters. We're quarantining and finding ways to help each other, to help people, to build communities online, because it gave us clarity, like, hey, this is important. We need to be able to reach out to each other and answer questions. Like, we can't just walk into a doctor's office when we want anymore.
Yeah.
So I think it definitely gave us the clarity, and I don't know what 2021 is going to give us, but I'm confident that we'll find something joyful in it if we, if we are flexible enough to have it come in a way we don't expect. Janice says, go ahead. No, finish your thought.
Oh, I kind of had two. One was 2020 was like the cocoon, the chrysalis, like where you go in and you're like, all right, I'm just with myself. I got to figure some things out. And you had the time, sort of had the time to do it. Yes, sort of, kind of had the time to do it. You try to have the time to do it, but it's like time in a different kind of way. Like you had the opportunities to work on a lot of things. Like if you were home with your family, you had time to work on those relationships. Hopefully they survived, hopefully they survived. But I was thinking that, and then, I was trying to think what I was going to say. There's one other thing, but go ahead. What was Janice going to say?
So Janice was saying that she finds that when her space is clear, her mind is clear.
It matters. Absolutely. So, that's what I was going to tag on to. So like when we were talking about the goals and like what you should do to get your goals started, it's like, it's not just taking that one actual action step, but also like starting to see like cultivating like who can you reach out to that would act as an excellent support system for you, because support during your goals is so important, which is why coaches are great, right? So like support systems and people who can also like who wouldn't mind maybe like mentoring you. So you're looking for people who are going to help support you along your achievement journey.
Yeah, like we need that those best friends of encouragement and accountability, right?
Yes.
They go so well together.
Absolutely.
So you guys who are watching, feel free to drop any questions that you might have for Sherrae or myself about anything that we've been talking about, or anything that you might know of us related to, our brand, because we have some friends and some family watching us.
And
so
like,
feel free
to check me out on Instagram, I was going to say, because at Goalista.
Yes. So feel free in the comments to come back later, Sherrae, and hang out in the comments with anyone you want to like talk a little more, where you can like read what they're saying on your own, and you can definitely drop links, and I'll try to go back into the description for the video here for those watching the live stream, where they can find you on Instagram. And then for those who are going to be watching this when it uploads to YouTube, it'll also be in the video description, all of the contact information for Sherrae, where you can keep up with what she's doing. So Veronica asks, what are your 2021 goals?
Moi?
I'm going to assume both of us. I'm going to assume it's for both of us.
Okay. So do I go first? That's goes first.
Sure.
Let's see. So I actually would like to get more fit. So like I've been working on working out, which if I can give a little plug for Facebook, like not only are they great for having groups, but also they created this thing called the Oculus Quest, which is like a VR virtual reality video game sort of like experience, but it does so much more than that. Like it is total immersion. In that I'm able to meditate. So they have all of these, they have meditation app. It's called Trip, which is super awesome. And I use that. They have all kinds of like athletic kind of exercise type games. They have a rowing game, which literally I can sit in my bed with my headset on and row, which is
Right.
crazy and amazing. Which also makes me feel like I'm getting out of the house even when I'm not, which is excellent for the psyche under these circumstances. They have dance games where you feel like you're in a nightclub. No lie, let me tell you guys that New Year's, I danced until like 3 o'clock in the morning in a virtual reality nightclub, which was super awesome.
Can you connect to other people as well? Or is it?
So, yes, if they have like
If they
the
have
same
this.
thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can. So like they do have open
So you
spaces where
can. So if I get one, right, then I can meet you in a virtual club and we can hang out and dance.
Okay, so I don't know if that is. I think you can honestly, but I haven't explored that because I don't know be on there, and I
That
actually
feels like a
ended up.
movie.
So I think honestly, I think you can. What I had somebody challenge me to a dance, and I actually accepted
Okay.
it. So like what happens, there's like this thing, it's called Dance Central, and you go into it and basically it's like this virtual nightclub. So it's kind of like programmed and everything. And what they have is you have a cell phone in it. And in the cell phone, you can decide where you want to hop around in the club or go out on the balcony. And there's a place I believe called the lounge where you can interact with other people. So because this is kind of like a new circumstance, I don't think there's as many people like being super interactive in the club right now. But they do
Right.
have like where you, if somebody is in there, like you dance with the character, and the whole game is basically like the character dances and you mirror their moves, and the better you get at doing it, like by really matching their movements, you get a higher score. It also tracks your calorie burn if you wanted to. And so people can challenge you to do the same dance. So they might dance with the character, you won't see them, and you'll be dancing with the character, they don't see you. But the technicality, because it tracks all of your motion, it can tell you who won the dance duel.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's pretty
So you're
interesting.
using that to help you get more fit.
Yes, they also have something super cool, which is I think it's called Fit XR, and it's basically like walking into valleys, which is interesting. But basically, you can do aerobic workouts, and you can do those with other people. But I don't know if you can like plan who you're in the class with. So there's usually like three
Okay.
people on each side of me. I can't see their actual faces because it's like virtual reality. So you can just basically see like movements of figures and their name like above their heads.
Okay.
And then there's scoreboards and it tells you like who did the routine the best with the instructor. And they also have like a sky park where you can box as well, like on the roof, which is super awesome. And it's
Wow.
everything is to music. And you can kind of choose like your genre of music, and in the nightclub you can choose your songs. So everything that they
Wow.
have for this that is fitness, it all comes with like music, which is super great. And you can buy extra packs of music that you like. And so I'm like always working out because it's just so much fun. Yep.
So Veronica said that is interesting, and Miss Lily said it sounds, again, so interesting to do if you need to stick to your wellness regime. Yeah, it sounds like a way to make it a lot more fun than just walking on the treadmill.
It is. It is so much more fun because like I debated whether I was gonna get yet another workout like item, you know, a piece of equipment. And I was like, this is it. This is it. And I love it so much because you can do so much with it. And there's this one, like the one I was telling you about, the rowing. You can literally get on your actual rowing machine if you have one, or your
Right.
bike or your elliptical, and it'll take you through the process like of the virtual experience while you're rowing because it'll track your
Right.
hands. Yeah.
Right. Wow. So what else are you going to be working on for your 2021 goals? Your
So
fitness
besides
and
fitness, I actually like I'm like a little bit like Like, I've applied for jobs, and I've gotten some offers, so I'm kind of like working on exactly where I'm gonna go. Because technically, like, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm an independent consultant, I run like multiple businesses, aka side hustles, and then I'm also like an independent, like I said, an independent contractor. So I get clients that are given to me from other corporations, and then now I'm also going to be doing like full-time work. So on top of that, I'm going to be working on my coaching business. Yeah.
Right.
And maybe I have a goal, Veronica, of writing a book, like all of us,
Okay. Yes, we
because
all
we're
have
all
it.
so special. Because we're all so special.
We
Yes,
are. We all
um,
have a unique voice to
we
share.
do. Yeah. It's like I was gifted with
um,
some blessed wisdom from my family and my friends and my life experience that I want to share and help people.
yes, and it's funny because people. I just think this came up on the last show as well as what I'm saying now. People always feel like, oh, well, everybody's doing something, like I can't do it as well. Like, you're the only person that has your unique mix of your perspective and your life experiences. So doesn't matter if 100 people are doing it, it's going to be 100 different takes on it. So there's
And
no reason you shouldn't add your voice and your product, whatever it is, to the mix.
And the world is
Um,
so large. I think that's also something to
yes,
remember. It's so large, and there's so many people, and there's so many people. Like, some people will connect better with Arlett, other people will connect with me. It's like, how many therapists are there in the world? How many doctors are there in the world? So
exactly,
many, you know. So,
exactly.
and they all have patients and clients, and they're not
Right.
running out.
That's true. Let's see, my 2021 goals, I haven't really formally formulated them. The show was obviously one that I started. I still intend for it to launch as a season on YouTube with episodes that I'll release probably weekly. These episodes that you guys are watching now. So that's definitely a goal. Right now, I'm focused on getting some clarity on a few things so that then I can move forward. One of which is if I want to have a second child or not, because it's a lot. Like, one kid is a lot. It's awesome, but it's a lot. But I still have that desire, because in a perfect world, had my desired outcome, it had my initial vision come to fruition, my desired outcome looked how I thought it was going to look, I would have had a
Right?
much more traditional family with multiple children. But as of this point in time, on what is today, January 9th, 2021, that is not the case. So I have to give it a little bit more thought in this moment. So just praying for some clarity on that, because if I'm going to do that, there's some kind of tangible things that kind of go along with that.
Absolutely.
Being a solo parent. Definitely some health improvements in terms of getting more fit. I think that's like an always and continuous goal, because we all have the things that we struggle with. So for me, it's weight, my whole life. That's been a challenge. So yeah, so that's kind of always a goal. Sometimes it takes higher and lower priority depending on what's going on, but that's always on the goal list. And then another goal is something that's not quite tangible that the therapist and I kind of talked about, which is being okay with some things just being okay, which is
Totally
really
awesome.
hard,
Yes.
which is really hard when you like everything to be like good, if not great.
So that's like how we were raised. Okay, let's just start
Yes,
there. So when I
yes,
was little,
yes.
I got this teddy bear, right? And the teddy bear was like, "You're a winner, Teddy knows," right? That was one of them. Then it was you would pull a drawstring, right? And then it would go, A winner never quits and a quitter never wins. Right?
Oh,
Oh
wow.
no. Oh, they set me up real good. They set me up well. Okay. So yeah. So yeah, that's just how we were raised, to attempt
Yes.
to do our absolute best
Always do
at
your
all
best.
times.
Yeah.
And then
Yep.
our
And so
dads were athletes, so they had lots of awards, and they were always good at everything. So yeah.
yes, 100%. And like my own kind of, I didn't have a teddy bear, but like I very vividly remember like my mom doing homework with me, and like my handwriting is terrible. It's always been terrible. And I had rushed through this homework assignment probably in like maybe second grade, right? And my mom looked at it and she said, "So you want to turn this in?" And I was like, "Yeah." She said, and she was like, "You're going to put your name on it? Look at it. You want your name on something that looks like this?" And then I was like, no. And so it just kind of, she said, "Well, make it look how you want it to look if your name's going to be on it." So that's always stayed with me. Anything that I'm a part of that my name is on, I want it to be as best as it can be, which is a great quality, but it doesn't serve you well all the time.
Emotionally.
In real life,
sometimes.
Right. Or even
stressful.
physically, because you can just be like burnt out, because
it's holistic.
We carry, we all wear these multiple hats, and we can't necessarily wear them all to perfection, whatever that is for us, at all times.
So you can decide that your perfection looks differently than what you thought it was going to look like. You can change what perfection is for you.
but it's more of a inward feeling than an outward look. Like sometimes knowing like, well, I could have worked harder on something. That's the part, and realizing that sometimes you don't have to work harder on something.
I was going to say, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Right. And so that's exactly what I was saying. That is like one of my goals going into 21 is to like sometimes doing something to the point of it being okay is okay, and that's enough. Like everything doesn't have to be done with my utmost efforts.
And shouldn't be.
And I can reserve that, for those, if you know me, it's hard for me to get through any conversation without talking about Kev on stage. I'm like a major fan.
She's like a Patreon contributor.
I am.
Yes,
I do belong to Patreon, and I have the app. I have the Kev on Stage app.
Oh my gosh,
TV.
You got the app.
I have it. Of course, I got the app. Yes. Yeah, he has his own Netflix. Like, what Black people do I know that have their own Netflix, basically,
he has his own
with your
now.
own content? Like, that's awesome.
So exciting. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but he mentioned this book, and then I listened to the audio called The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks, and he talks about like your zone of genius, and those are like the kind of the things that marry up like what you're good at and what also brings you joy, and those are the things that need my utmost effort. Yes. Like if it's not in that zone of genius, like I need to just like, it can just be okay. It doesn't have to be like, so that's my goal. One of my big kind of untangible goals for 2021 and the rest of my life really is to get better at being okay with some things, just being okay.
I got used to that. For those
watching, because the Chase and Joy group is a place where we share all our goals and stuff. I'd love to know what your goals are for 2021. Don't just have me and Sherrae out here by ourselves. Like, let us know in the comments what you think. What are some of your goals? So, I'll look through to see if there's any questions. If you guys have any other questions for us, that was a great question, Veronica. Thank you. If you guys have any other questions while I'm waiting for you guys to share any questions, Sherrae, do you want to tell us about if there are any interesting things going on with you coming up? You mentioned a podcast or, anything you just want to share.
The goal is to thrive. The Goal is to Thrive podcast. Hopefully I'll have more episodes coming out very soon. Probably looking more like around the springtime. It's going to be found wherever podcasts are found. Wherever you get your podcast, it's there. I know it's on like Apple Music, I think they call it now. Apple Music, Spotify, all those places. And it's basically just going to talk about what the same kind of stuff we're talking about basically here, and also kind of dig into a lot of women's issues, women in the workplace issues, work-life balance, and basically goal setting and achievement and all that good wonderful stuff. Some lifestyle stuff too, and I'm also like looking at how I'm going to be evolving on my Instagram. Kind of looking at partnering maybe with some brands and trying to go more into like the lifestyle area of self-care, like looking at beauty, looking at like if you look good on the outside, do you feel a little bit better on the inside sometimes? Like it's a funny thing. It's a funny thing when you put that makeup on and you're like, oh, I look kind of cute today, and you feel just a little bit better. So like I'm looking at definitely
or your power color. That's red for me typically. So if things that are like might be stressful or anxiety producing, I'm probably going to whip out something red to have on, because at least I'll feel good in that. Like I'm like, well, at least I know my skin. Yeah, I'm like, at least I know my skin is popping. If nothing else goes right today, the melanin was popping in this red outfit.
And your smile, all of that, you glow, girl. You glow. And the goal is for me to encourage other people to glow, and give them ideas about how they can put in worthy efforts to make that happen for themselves. So yeah, I'm looking to kind of like maybe take a turn in the direction of supplying like a few more tips in not just like the internal stuff, but also some of the external stuff. So yeah, awesome. And yeah, I'm working on the book.
Okay.
Yeah, and any coaching clients that come along. Yeah.
So a couple people shared what their goals are. Cool. Veronica says she wants to get better at prioritizing rest. Me too, Veronica.
Yes, Veronica.
I've been doing pretty good with that the beginning of the year.
That's why I've been missing some of those Friday night meetings, girl, because I've been like, listen, I love y'all, but I got to get some sleep.
Yeah, well, I've mentioned in the group plenty of times my Friday night Zoom with my friends. Sometimes that's the only time during the week I might have talked to people that I like, other than my son. But in terms of like adults, like I talked to him, but though his sentences are getting longer, the longest ones typically start now with "No, I don't want to." Fill in the blank, whatever I'm asking him to do. So those aren't exactly, the kind of conversations that pour into you, so to speak. So my Friday night Zoom has been keeping me going. Sherrae says organizing her home and continuing to manage health and weight loss.
Yes.
I can agree with all that. I can
We're
jump
right
on
there
board
with you, girl.
Yes. Miss Lily says setting realistic goals that she can reach for herself. Yes, I'm a big fan of the SMART goals.
Yes.
The R in SMART is realistic. And by the way, Miss Lily is one of Baby Joy Chaser's daycare teachers, which is why I always call her Miss Lily.
Oh,
how awesome! And Veronica says she gets all of the way dressed for work. People are like, but you're not going anywhere. You know what, Veronica? As I was getting dressed to do the show tonight, I realized, like, I really like that I get to wear clothes for this. Like, Absolutely. I get to wear clothes and pick out jewelry and feel put together for a couple hours out of the week.
Yeah, so that was nice. It is nice. And I stumbled upon that because I do like this local radio and TV thing. And I had forgotten to mention that, which is a Motivation Monday All-Star. And I work with Shelly Sol Williams, which is Philly's Oprah. And we do like a Motivation Monday show. And we basically talk about and have guests on that will help people learn how to navigate social media, public relations, marketing, and all that wonderful stuff that entrepreneurs basically need in order to move forward with their successful businesses.
Where does the show air?
So It airs on television, on a local TV channel in Philly. I live in the suburbs, so I don't get it. So technically, I've been on TV and never seen myself technically on TV, which is funny.
Oh.
And yeah, and then it's also, you can find it, I think, on the Facebook page. You can find episodes on YouTube, I believe.
Well, feel free to drop them in the group here. And you
Okay.
can feel free whenever you're going to be on there to share it in the group. Hey, I'm going to be on, so we can tune in, those of us who live
Okay.
in Philly, and see
Um,
you on TV.
so I know I believe we have Motivation Monday is gonna be on, the next one is on the 18th of January. And also you can find it on Eventbrite. So,
Okay.
yeah, you can find it on Eventbrite. And also, like, it's on Grown Folks Radio. So not only we do it for television and we do it for radio, which is pretty
Hmm.
cool. But my point, the reason why I brought that up was because we were talking about looking cute. And so when it's time for me to go on, those are like the only days of the entire month. And I'm like, okay, 2 days a month. Like, I know, like, if I'm doing those two shows, that I'm single on a Saturday night and Motivation Monday. One is a dating talk show, more about relationships, and then the other one is about career. I know if I'm doing those, like, I would get cute, and that's when you guys see those cute pictures on my Instagram, that's when I'm taking them because that's my day. But it does; it makes you feel better, totally.
Yes, yes, it does. Veronica said it makes you feel good. Dress for success. Yes.
That's right.
All right.
I used to volunteer for
So,
them.
yes, dress for success. They do good work.
Yes, and donate your clothes and
Um,
extra suits to Dress for Success wherever you are.
yes. Or career wardrobe, which is a similar thing. Whichever one you can get to.
Yeah.
So as we wind down our interview, I'll ask like the last serious question before my fun questions.
Okay.
Um, since we are in the midst of this pandemic and we are still quarantining to some extent, some more than others,
Mm-hmm.
how would you suggest someone kind of be able to get focused or stay focused on their goal with all this, outside noise, let's call it, going on?
Are you talking about the things that have happened this week, etc.?
I'm talking about all of it. Just all of it. The current
How do you
environment that we
stay
live in,
focused?
like how to stay focused or maybe even get focused. It's the beginning of the year. A lot of us want to maybe start a new goal or something with all
Okay.
this going on.
So, okay. So, like we said, support systems and groups. Join a group, join a Chasing Joy, join a Goalista Thrive. See that people are still out there doing things because, we are competitive, this species, right? And when we see other people, I know we're supposed to stay in our lane, but we see what's happening in other lanes and we got motivated. Um, I would also say read books about the things that you care about, that you're interested in. Watch videos, immerse yourself in media that is going to help feed you, and encourage you. I'm a big fan of Audible, and listening to books that can encourage me. And they have like a wild array of things, that you can use to help encourage yourself. Um, Also, things that I did like during 2020, I was always signing up for like one conference or class or meeting on a Zoom that's being provided that would teach me something about the things that I'm interested in. Like, I was studying things from Google. Google actually has a lot of classes that they give for free. And you work with like Google employees will lead them and they'll teach you all about how to navigate on the Google platform. And like, there's
Oh,
a lot of
wow.
programs available for women in business. Like Cartier has grants, like the watch people.
Oh,
Dell
wow.
has a women's group. Let's see, so I was like really really busy for a while because I Facebook has educational space, so like so many companies have available spaces, especially for women in business entrepreneurs, um to help them like learn how to grow your social media and interact and learn how to do things that will help your business to progress. So if you have a goal, I would say like look into groups and businesses that will help support your progress. Yeah.
And it also sounds like just in general, like immerse yourself in positive things. I was talking to my friends on the Zoom Friday night about I just got this new cork board to put in my bedroom, and I wanted to put my priorities on it so that I could see that first thing in the morning. Because like we take in all this information through all of our senses, and there is so much noise these days that is, in terms of like negative things going on in the world that we are taking in, whether because of necessary, because we do need to educate ourselves about what's going on, but then sometimes it could be overabundant. So I'm just trying to think of more ways to have positive coming in, even if it's like in my subconscious, because I'm seeing it because it's up on my board.
Now, I know this is hard for you because you have a toddler, right? But silence. Can we have a moment for silence? Silence it's such a feeding space. Like if you can just have 5 minutes of solid silence, 15, 10 minutes that you can take of silence. I mean, not looking at your phone, not listening to anything external that isn't, that's not avoidable, unless it's not avoidable. Silence matters. So I totally encourage meditation, like just to create that space of openness. Like some of my best ideas come when I'm either working out, which is was also like a form of meditation, or I'm just sitting silently and trying to meditate, just clearing that space to hear like whatever your thoughts, your God's thoughts, your higher power, it's really important.
Yeah, I love that. For Chasing Joy, our monthly goal this week, which is January, for those who will watch this later, our goal for January was for everyone to pick a wellness goal that they wanted to work on. And so for this week, which was the first week, was to pick a goal and share it with someone, or you could share it with the group. But then for next week, I wanted them to take that same goal and kind of put a somewhat of a spiritual spin on it in terms of supporting the goal. And that's going to look like, for those who praying about the goal, but I also mentioned meditation as well, and visualization, like kind of related to whatever your wellness goal might be, kind of like a holistic approach. So that's what we're going to be focusing in on, I guess, starting tomorrow, the second week, second full week of the month. Miss Lily mentioned Coursera. That's another place that you can go and get courses and learn about things that you like. And Veronica said silence in the car is beautiful. And then she also mentioned restorative yoga as well as a good thing. So, all right, now that we've kind of talked about all the heavy stuff, my 2 signature questions that I always ask, these are questions that I have carried forward. No problem. Okay. I've carried forward from the Chasing Joy newsletter. For those who've been around for a few years, you might remember the Chasing Joy quarterly newsletter, where I would have, similar to what we're doing here now with the show, but I would have a newsletter interview with a woman who was a great example of someone who was chasing joy. And I would always ask the same 2 questions because I think they're fun and interesting. So I'm going to ask them now. So they are, what is the last movie that you saw, and what is the last trip you went on? And by trip, we're in a pandemic, so I'm not necessarily talking about getting on a plane, whatever you want to count as a trip.
Okay, so what's coming to mind is It's a Wonderful Life is one of the last movies I watched. Because I watch a lot of TV.
That's a good holiday one.
Yes, used to watch it with my father every season. So try to get in at least like once a holiday season, and I pushed it all the way to New Year's Eve night. So New Year's Eve.
Okay.
So yeah, I watched It's a Wonderful Life. I mean, and that was the goal for this year.
I feel like that's a really good movie for New Year's, actually, because the concept of the movie really doesn't have to be about Christmas. Like that could have kind of taken place any time of the year, really. It
could have.
So that's I mean, it didn't. It's okay. I think it. But
they have a
that's a good one for New Year's.
they literally have a New Year's scene at the very, very end. I think it's like New Year's
Yeah.
because they sing the
Old
New
Lang
Year's
Syne.
song. Yes,
Yeah, I
yes.
think it's an Old Lang Syne, yeah.
And then she kicks it off with, every time a bell rings, an angel gets its wings, kind of thing. Yeah. That a
Yeah.
boy, Clarence, So it's all about achievement, Clarence got his wings. He helped George to move from point A to point B in his mindset. It's a perfect movie for
Right.
me. Yeah. It's just another way my parents set me up, right?
Well, listen, I firmly believe that we are all brainwashed. It's just are you brainwashed in a good way or a bad way? So I'm just trying to brainwash my kid to the best of my ability.
Then they just call it.
And our parents did pretty good with us. Yes. And what's the last trip that you've been on?
I believe the last trip that I was on was to the ever loving and wonderful Atlantic City, New Jersey.
Okay.
Yeah, love to go to the Golden Nugget and the Ocean Hotel and the Hard Rock and just like looking out at the ocean, the actual ocean, not the hotel. Looking out at the actual ocean, right. It is soul soothing for me.
Is that the new Hotel Ocean?
Yeah, the Ocean.
Is that what it's called? They used to be Revel.
Hotels.
Is that the one that used to be Revel for a minute?
Yes. It's now the Ocean. It's stunning.
I haven't been there yet.
Oh my goodness, it's stunning. It's massive. It's the biggest thing over there. So it's luxury. And just like your favorite place, Caesar's Palace, a nod to you and your mother, and had a little.
My favorite place is Borgata.
Okay, been to the Borgata too.
I love Borgata.
Borgata's the one with the indoor beach, right?
No, that's Harris.
Oh, Harris is indoor beach. No,
I'm definitely my mother's child that I know all this.
Okay, right, yeah. So the Borgata,
Atlantic City was her space.
The one next
that's
to
on the other side. That's next to
the watershed. It's attached to the watershed or the water.
I think they're the same people. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if they're attached. They're attached now. I haven't been there in a while. Obviously.
They're beautiful. Yeah. I went all up in there, and you feel like you're on the best vacation ever anytime you step in there because everything is opulent and beautiful and perfectly temperatured, and the food is great.
And I
no complaints.
I'll give a nod to your mom who taught me this word, the ambiance.
Yes, the ambiance is wonderful.
The ambiance. Yeah. Okay, Sherrae, thank you so much for joining us for the Chasing Joy show. This was awesome.
Thank you.
And I learned things. I learned things about you, which is great considering I've known you my whole life. That I could still learn new things.
That was the goal. So I was like, yes, what can I bring to the table? See, look, guys, this is also like a little information, a little tutorial on how to keep your relationships fresh. Okay.
Yes.
New information in
there.
Yes.
And I want to thank everyone who joined us in the live stream. Those of you who've been quietly watching, we appreciate you. And hopefully you'll be interacting with us on future shows and here in the group. And special shout outs to Veronica, Almita, and Miss Lily and Janice, who I think, and Shane, who were all were wonderful studio audience members and giving us comments and questions. And with that, and I also, for those who were watching the live stream, thank you for bearing with us with our technical difficulties in the beginning.
And my allergies. Please, I hope you get to have me back on when I'm not so flushed.
Yes, we'll definitely have you all back on. Maybe I'll copy off of these, Housewives show and do a reunion show, though we won't be fighting and cursing. We'll just be sharing more tips and tricks for how to have more joy in our life. So you'll definitely come back. So thanks for putting up with our technical difficulties today, which were annoying for me, but I'm also very proud that I made it to episode 4 before there were difficulties, because
congratulations.
In this virtual world we're in, there's technical difficulties every day with so many people being on these apps and whatnot, it kind of comes with the territory. So thank you all for watching. Next night, I'll be back with Veronica, who's been active here in the group as Veronica's Right Team. She is an author, and she has a new book. I believe it's called Everybody Gets Nervous. Veronica, correct me in the comments if I said it wrong.
I'm pretty sure that's right.
So we will be talking with her about that and the many things she does. I looked up the term Renaissance woman or Renaissance man technically yesterday because I want to make sure I was using it correct because Veronica is a true Renaissance woman. So we'll be chatting with her. Yes, and we'll be chatting with her on the next Chasing Joy show. So I'll see you guys.
Thank you. Pleasure.
Bye.
See you later. Bye, guys.